What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we have some awesome content planned, a super cool little mini series, and a collaboration. So more on that in a little bit, but I wanted to share with you guys what you're looking at, because without much context, you'll think, where the heck is Luke? Well, you're actually in our new backyard. That's right. Mrs. MIgardener and I decided that it was a time in our life to upgrade to a slightly larger home. And with that came obviously a move. Now, there was a lot going on, and so we didn't really have a whole lot of time to film new content, and we did kind of want a little bit of sense of privacy. This home is not our forever home. It's a very temporary home for us. It's a home that's going to be a transition home for the next 5 to 7 years or so to allow us to find our forever home. But in the meantime, we don't know when we're going to have more little ones, and we were starting to talk about having some more kids, and our old home was only 950 square feet. A small little 2-bedroom, 1-bath ranch house just was not sufficient for a growing family. And so what we did was we actually decided to lease out the house to an employee of ours that works with us, and you've probably seen Aiden, and so he decided to take over the lease. And so he now leases that house, and we have the garden space. So it was a win for us and a win for him, because the lease for him actually ended up being way less than the rent he was already paying, and we get to keep the garden. So it was a win for him, win for us, and we decided to take advantage of the low interest rates while they still were around to get this home. Now, this home is only slightly larger, about 30% larger than our other home, but it's 2 stories, which is great because it allows us to have another couple bedrooms to fill up with beautiful children. So I'm very excited about that. But the downside is that there's a lot of work to do. What you guys have not seen is all of the jobs that have happened in this yard. Now, the yard's fairly small. It's a standard American tract home, fairly small lot. Basically right back there is our property line. So not a huge space for a lot, a very big garden, but that's why we wanted to keep the old garden. But because it's just a standard American tract home, it's got a lot of yard issues. So when we bought the home, we actually brought with it a lot of skeletons in the closet. One of those skeletons was this pond. The original owners put this pond in thinking it was gonna be a good idea, and since we got the house, it's been nothing but problems. So what we did was we actually contacted some people that know a lot about ponds, and we actually saw if they wanted to collaborate with us with making an edible landscape combined with redoing this pond. And they're here. All right, so they are here, and we are with some very, very noticeable faces. We're with Ed, the pond professor, and we're so excited to have them out here to help work on our pond, because we're having so many issues that we're going to talk about. So now that I've got Ed with me, Ed, it's good to have you. Give you a little left-hand handshake there.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So we are super excited. Let's walk and talk about some of the issues we've been having and maybe some ideas, because this little mini series we're going to do is not only the ideas that Ed has for our space, but also what we're going to do about it. We're going to talk about what we're going to do, then we're actually going to do it, and then we're going to do some other videos later on about some things that you can actually plant around ponds as well to make an edible landscape. Let's go. So, like I said, I'm with Ed, the pond professor, and you came
all the way from Chicago this morning.
All the way from Chicago. So it's really nice to have Ed here with us. And how long have you been doing this, Ed?
I have been doing this for 29 years.
29 years.
Yeah. It's a long time.
And so you're with Greg Whitstock, the pond guy.
The pond guy with Aquascape Inc. out of Chicago. And we've been designing and building ponds all over the world, and this is going to be another one for us. I'm looking forward to this project.
And I can't tell you guys how much I've been looking forward to this, because if you know Daniel Arms from Arms Family Homestead, he was actually the one that set us up with you guys. Yep. Because he came out here late last year to do some salmon fishing, and he took one look at the pond, he goes, "Yikes." That's what he said. He said, "Yikes, we got to fix that." And so he started talking, and he set us up with Greg and Ed and great people. So so the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about some issues that we're having with the pond.
Yep.
So one of the main issues, Ed, that we're having is mosquitoes.
Okay.
It is terrible, the amount of mosquitoes we're having with this pond, because there's, well, the waterfall actually broke.
Okay.
So there's no water movement.
Okay.
And it's caused there to be just an incredible amount of mosquitoes. So many so that Mrs. MIgardener and I can't even really enjoy the property because they come out and they just assault you.
Yeah.
All right, now Ed, the second problem is the invasive plants. They're really not invasive, but they're invasive to me.
The invasive nature.
The invasive nature. They're so aggressive.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about, but I kind of showed Ed what we're dealing with here. And it really just kind of prevents us from doing much with the property just because of how aggressive these are. I mean, you can just see these have just absolutely overgrown all these grasses. And then I don't know, I call these little pine trees, but they're not pine trees. I don't even know what these are, but these are absolutely insane throughout here. They basically take over the entire pond. And we bought the pond, well, we bought the house with the pond, and the original owners obviously just never really maintained it. So, and then you've got, I don't even know what those purple flowers are. They're pretty, but they are crazy invasive. They're all over the place. And then what you don't see is all of the mint. There is just so much mint growing in, and it's edible, but it just, oh my goodness, you know me. I do not like to grow plants that are bullies of the garden, and mint is one of those plants that is just a super big bully. And then obviously we've got other stuff that's just, you know, really preventing us from enjoying this. So the lily pads are nice, but they're a little bit too much. And then there's other stuff here, you know, like this wisteria vine that is just taking over, and there's so much just going on here. It's very overgrown, and it really just holds so many mosquitoes that we can't enjoy it. So Ed, you saw kind of just how crazy all of the plants were. Can you identify any of the ones that are?
Yeah, you got burr reed over here, super aggressive plant. Again, when we talk about aggression within a pond system, it's all relative. So the thing with aquatic plants is they all need water, right? So once you have that aquatic element, you have sediment in the water, these plants are just going to take over. We have full sunlight, and it's going to be the survival of the fittest. So they're just going to seek out any of that moisture, and they're going to run all over the place. They want their place in the sunlight. So aquatic plants, they want to take over, so you have to keep on top of them. We have to cut them back. We have to maintain them. They can look nice when they're trimmed up and they're kept in their tidy little spots, and then we could keep open areas for water, for fish and things like that that are going to be swimming around. So I also see some of the water lilies that you have. A spectacular plant, one of my favorites. But if it's left unchecked, it's going to pop out of it. They usually come in a pot of some sort. They're going to break out of that, and once that tuber gets down into the sediments and into the rockwork, it's going to run. So when I talk about maintenance, that's one of the keys. I also see a lot of leaf litter down in the bottom. So that's that perfect start. I mean, it's an organic mulch. It's going to break down, and it has everything that those plants need to really take off. And because the waterfall is not working, so that box over in the corner is a skimmer system. So that sucks all the water in, and there's a bag inside of there. So when it is functioning properly, leaf debris, wind-blown stuff is going to go into the pond. It's going to get sucked into a catch bag, and then you could remove it periodically, and it's going to keep that stuff from going in the bottom. So it's all about controlling the food source.
So Ed, the third problem that we're having that kind of comes with the overgrown nature of a lot of these plants is that even a lot of the landscaping that they put in here, it's very overgrown. So we tend to take, as you guys know, we tend to take more of an edible approach. And there's not really any room for edibles because it's basically already it's almost an ecosystem of itself, fully grown. And so there's no room to put like blueberry bushes. There's no room to put things like peach trees or cherry trees or maybe some ground cover of strawberries. You know, there's really no way to do that just because of how overgrown all of this is. And so I'd like to, you know, obviously address those three problems in this mini series. And I know you guys are going to be the ones to do it.
Probably has not been cleaned or maintained in here.
Oh.
You want to hold him?
Yes.
Woo! Oh man, got a whiff of that methane when it came up too. All right, Ed. So, what are you thinking so far? We're making some good progress. I've still got my hey dudes on, so I'm not like fully in boot mode yet. But I have been pulling some stones, and I've been enjoying the process. I've been learning a lot from Ed, and Ed was kind of going through some of the stuff that's happening in this pond, and maybe you could share it with some of the...
Yeah, what we were talking about is the eutrophication process. So that's basically the death of an ecosystem, or the changing of an ecosystem, honestly. So it means that it just gets more and more nutrients inside of the pond. So what's happening here, this has not been touched for many, many years, decades probably, very little maintenance. So you can see all this leaf debris down here on the bottom, just accumulating stuff. So as that gets layered and layered and layered, and then you get more aquatic vegetation growing inside, and that stuff starts to die, and it doesn't go through a full decomposition process because it's dying and accumulating faster than it could oxidize and break down. So what happens is the pond gets shallower and shallower and shallower. So what changes is the water temperature changes. Warm water has less dissolved oxygen than the cold deep water, so that warmer water, less dissolved oxygen, inhibits the actual breakdown process because now there's not enough aerobic bacterial degradation happening inside the ecosystem. So all of a sudden it starts to really just kind of cascade itself downhill, and this pond gets shallower and warmer, mosquitoes, insects, loaded with vegetation. In a few more years this would be a wet meadow. A few more years after that this would be an actual prairie. You're going to start to see trees and things growing from here eventually because it's just accumulating and building up all those organic sediments, and it has all the nutrients and building blocks of life are literally here.
So Ed, you were saying that it's obviously starting to eutrophy.
Yep.
And it's beginning to become less of a pond and more of like a wetland.
Yeah, marsh area.
Marshy.
Yeah.
So how long would you say it's been since it's been maintained?
Oh, I'm going to say by the look of it, 8 to 10 years, I would say, without any maintenance.
I said it was bad. I didn't think it was that bad. So well, I'm glad to have you here.
We're glad to be here. Nothing we like better.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
Nice.
Wow. Look at that.
Look at the root system on that.
We're getting there. It's taking a while, but we're getting there. It's a heck of a lot deeper than I thought too. It's surprising. Once we got all those lily pads off, it uncovered another 3 giant boulders. And that sucker's probably at least twice as deep as I was expecting. We got a guest. Hey-o. What's up, kiddo?
Hi.
What do you think of the pond?
Gross.
It's
but good.
Gross.
It's getting good.
So, I'm very excited. I am going to need your help tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Because I think we're going to go to the store. We're going to pick out some plants to plant around the pond.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
All right, high five.
Wait, what happened?
I got a blister.
Oh. Okay, high five now.
All right, there you go. Oh, those things need some trifecta.
Yes. I didn't fertilize them when I planted them first, so.
All right, guys. So I'm tall. Ed's not quite that short. It's just that's a very deep pond. So we're wrapping up day 1. I got in there. See, I wasn't, as my dad would say, sitting back sipping lemonade. I was helping. So I'm just so glad to have Ed here, the pond professor, doing such an amazing job with this pond already. We're really starting to see the shape. It's like it's starting to take its shape and starting to see what the original plan looked like. So very excited about that. But what do you think, Ed?
I think this was a great start to the project. We got the water out, got vegetation out, pulling all these boulders. But what I love is it's kind of like a little bit of an Easter egg hunt here. So we found some monstrous boulders underneath, which I was not expecting, which is pretty cool. So we're going to be able to take those, and instead of burying them on the bottom, what I would like to do is bring those big boulders up to the top shelf where they could actually be like destination boulders and things like that.
Yeah.
Where we could walk right in, we can transition up into the patio. I think it'll be perfect. So I think that's going to be a perfect accent. We still have a lot of cleanup to do, but overall, I'm really happy with today's progress, and I know tomorrow, by the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome.
We're going to see them bright and early. 7:30?
You got it.
All right. We'll see you at 7:30. All right. Day 2 coming at you. We're going to finish the cleanup and then start the rebuild. See you guys on the next one. Remember to grow big or go home. Catch you later. Bye.